Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to this platform guide to LCG Trader. It's the trading platform used by clients at London Capital Group. I should say that during this webinar, we're going to cover a number of topics. I'll show you that on the next screen. Should you have any questions whatsoever, please send them through to myself during this webinar or through to the London Capital Group customer services team. They're reachable 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, when markets are open. That's through live chat, email or telephone. So, first off the bat, how to place a trade. Let's not mess around too much. That's the most important thing here. Also, how to use orders. Popular orders include stop loss and limits. How to use the chart, technical analysis of price charts, very popular for clients at LCG. So I'll show you the basics of the analysis, not a full suite on the analysis here. This is a guide to the platform rather than how to trade. We have other webinars for that. And also importantly, how to link the charts. That's a feature we have within the LCG Trader. Creating watch lists for all the different markets you want to trade. Analyzing your past results. We have a specific analyze function within the LCG Trader platform. Viewing market information. You obviously want to know everything you possibly can about the market you're trading. We have an active market panel specifically for that purpose. That's the bit, if you're interested, on the right hand side of the platform. And we will also talk about, always a popular topic, is the trade signals and trade ideas that we have through the platform and how to access those. So firstly, how to place a trade. When you open the platform, it should look roughly something like this, just to give you a vague idea. You have the trade and watch list panel here on the left. There are different tabs: trade, analyze. You also can access a live chat here, deposit funds, and you can also go to the settings of the account. That's all on the left. There we go. You can also close that left-hand window just by clicking on the three lines in the top left-hand corner there. We have the chart windows here, and we have the active market panel over here on the right, which contains a lot of different information. You can get rid of all these different elements. Show active market panel, you can get rid of that, turn it back on. We also have the trade watch area down the bottom here. Just so happens I look like I'm making a little bit of demo profit by buying some Facebook shares. There we go. That's a bit incidental. So I'll close the trade watch area for now. But how to place a trade? Well, the thing is, the chart that we currently are displaying, you can see up here, is gold or the euro. Let's just say, for example's sake, you want to buy some gold. Well, here we are. We have the buy and the sell price available right here on the chart. So you can actually choose the amount of gold you want to buy. For example, say you want to choose one lot. That tells you right there that's $10,000 worth of gold. It tells you all the information available for the trade, the current price levels to buy, the current price levels to sell, the commission. We don't have commissions here, we do have spreads. That's the difference between the buy and the sell price, and the margin required for the trade. So in the instance you did want to buy 0.1 lot of gold through the CFD platform here, then you would need $714 at the absolute minimum in your account. You'll notice that my account is based in dollars. Clearly it's the world reserve currency, but you can have accounts based in different currencies. So let's say I select 0.1. If I click buy, there are different ways of using these buttons, these buy and sell buttons. So with a single, you can set it so that a single click will enter you into the trade. You can add a kind of safety feature, if you like, of it needing to be a double click. So who knows, you might accidentally click the buy or sell button. Stranger things have happened at sea. You can activate the double click, or you can just disable these buttons just in case you get too tempted to place a trade that you didn't want to place. There are various reasons you might want to do that, but most people tend to go for the single click because that is the quickest way of doing it. A market order would make sure that you enter the trade most likely, as it says here, at the best available price for that size. That as opposed to a different option, which would be just buying at the price you see when you click. If the market's moving fast, you may not get that price. Anyway, these are all a bit incidental things. Let's just apply and say we understand and apply this. If you click buy now that the settings are implemented, you can see up here a request to buy gold was filled. So we are now buying gold, and if we look in our trade watch area, not only are we buying some Facebook, we're also buying some gold. Now, don't want to jump around too much here, but you may notice that we're in a loss for this gold trade. Every trade you start will initially be in a loss because you start down the amount of the spread. That's the difference between the buy and the sell price. So your first operation within the market is to try and recuperate that spread that you start down by. The rest, if the market continues to move in your direction, is profit for you. Right, again, let's close that away. The other option, we have this right hand panel here. Now you can choose, it just so happens that this panel is linked to one of these charts. It's linked to gold, so you'll notice how the linking of the chart works in just a second. Say I choose another popular market, which is the euro dollar. Same chart as we have right down here, different time frames. Anyway, I'll get to that in just a minute. Say we want to sell some euros, and it says the default option is to buy some euros, but we can even sell the market because it does appear to be dropping at the moment. Maybe we think that drop is going to continue. So we click in order to sell, place the order, order filled. Your order to sell 1,000 euros. So you can see the size of the trade there was 1,000. We sold 1,000 euros at the market price. And again, if we go up to our layout, show the trade watch, now indeed we are selling 1,000 euros in addition to our gold trade and Facebook trade. So a third way to place a trade on LCG Trader is to use the watch list. Now say for example we want to buy some British pounds, we literally find GBP USD, pound against the dollar, cable as it's known, left click, we can see the sell button, the buy button. If we decide we want to buy, we choose the amount, say we want to buy £10,000 worth, click buy, and you can see down here we are now buying £10,000 in the market. Click again to close that buy and sell button. If you want to see a deal ticket, you would right click in the menu on top of the GBP USD or any other market you want to trade. Click new order, create new order, and this is the deal ticket. So you can place deals, buy and sell, set the size, set whether it's a market and order, and you also have the option to add a stop loss or take profit limit. There are options for placing orders here too, limit orders, stop orders, and stop limit orders. I'm about to discuss those next and how you can use those through the active market panel on the right. Of course, the other thing you may wish to do is close the trade that you opened. So simplest way, down here in our trade watch area, which is currently open, you can see right over here next to the specific trade that you're in. So for example, this pound trade we've entered, we can simply click close, and that close is exited. Now, say we've got this euro trade. Say we are thinking we want to do something different with this trade. What we can actually do is double our position with one click. So you see right now that our position is 1,000 euros. Now it's 2,000 euros, double the 1,000. Simply at the click of a button. So we're now selling 2,000 euros in the market. Now let's say we decide selling is no longer the best course of action. We've made the most minuscule profit here and we think it's time to reverse this position to a buy. Reverse position. Click reverse. And we are now buying 2,000 euros. So some quick modifications to your order possible there. And of course you can just close it at the click of a button. Now it may be that we want to place an order. So let's choose a different market. For example, Wall Street. That would be our way of buying the US stock market. Say we want to buy Wall Street. That's our proxy for the Dow Jones, the top 100, the top 30 companies in the US index. But say we don't want to buy it at current levels. Say we want to see the market drop down to this level down here. We saw it bounce off there a few times. We think maybe it will drop down there and bounce again, for argument's sake. So actually that level is 27,114. So what we can do is we can choose a limit. So instead of in this right hand box here choosing a deal ticket, we can choose limit. And we can change our entry price to that one we had in mind, 27,114. 27,114. Entry price. We're happy with the smallest margin of lots, but just to remind ourselves what that means, we need a margin of $136 and the value of that trade is about $2,700. If we want to place that trade, we go ahead, we place the trade, and now you can see we have a limit in to buy the market if it drops down to 27,114. Now you see this, it doesn't get added to our deals box because we're not in the market yet. We haven't actually bought Wall Street, we just placed an order to buy it at a certain price level. So in order to see our orders, we're not in positions because we're not positioned in the market yet. We've just placed an order to position ourselves later. And so you can see here that we have an order to buy 0.01 lots. And it's good till cancelled, so that order will sit there until we cancel it. Now you notice that we've actually had a limit order to buy euros here. That's just from another time, but it's still there because it's good till cancelled. So that order will sit there until we choose to cancel it. We can cancel it if we just click that X button. That order's gone to buy euros, so that doesn't exist anymore. Now what we can also do is if we go back to our positions window away from our orders, so we're selling euros. So here it's conveniently clicked onto the euros chart for us. Now say we think the euro is going down, but we're worried it might jump back up again. Say for example, we think that if it jumps back above 112, this round number up here, that we don't want to actually be selling euros anymore. At that point, we're going to reconsider our trade idea. We can certainly do that. What we can do is go to our position that we already have in the market here of selling euros. We can right click on there, and keep in mind with this platform guide in general, guys, there are actually a number of ways of doing these different operations. I'm not explaining each one, I'm explaining what I view to be the most intuitive, but you may find your own easier way of doing this as you go along. So you can modify your position, and what we can choose to do is add a stop loss. So if you remember, we chose our stop loss was going to be if the price hits 112, we're going to stop our losses at 47 points. So by typing in 112 in the price, see these different categories, price, points, etc. It's automatically adjusted how many points away from the market that would be. So it's conveniently showing us from our current price up to 112, which is way above the price here. That's when we would exit the market. That's 47 points. We could say, actually, let's just make it 50. And then we'd see we'd actually exit at 112.02 if we just say we want to be out in 50 points. If we're wrong by 50 points, we don't want to lose any more. It's a good way of managing the risk of your trade. And you can see that in US dollars amounts, that amounts to $47. Now let's say we also want to set a point at which we will take a profit. So this take profit order is actually a limit order, but it's a limit order that we're adding to our trade. The negative there, it's not going to work. This is a positive amount of points we want to take on the trade. Even if we're selling, the number you type in is 50. So you could have actually chosen to take a profit, set a take profit order at the amount that you've lost already, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Really, you want to set the number of points or maybe a price level. So you'll see that this 50-point price level is roughly 110. So let's say that. So we enter the position here. We've modified what we want, protect. And so we now have these two orders around our price. We can see we sold the market here in the euro, our target's down here, and our stop loss is up there. Now another nice option that we have available to us once we have those orders added to the trade, i.e. the stop loss and the take profit order, if we zoom into a shorter time frame here, we can see it a bit better. So we see our two levels here on the top. Obviously we're short the market, so stop loss is on the top, so the price goes up when we want it to go down. We cover our losses, and our target is on the downside. So if we want to take our profits on a short trade, it's obviously below the current market price. Now say we decide that actually we don't think the market's going to drop as much as we want. A very easy way to adjust our take profit level is right from the chart here. We can just drag this level up, and you can see on the right hand side it's gone up to 111.20. Look on that price on the side of the chart, it's up to 111.30 now, like right below the current price. So let's say we want to make it 20-ish. That's now adjusted, so you can see our take profit down here is 111.20. Now say we want to minimize our risk a little bit more. At the moment we've got 112. We can just drag our stop loss down, and let's make it 111.80 instead. And you can see our stop loss is now 111.80. We could instantaneously just do it by dragging the levels around, as opposed to having to bring up the deal ticket and modify the prices by typing the numbers, which of course you can do as well if you prefer. Now, just going to show you some other options here. You can place an order to enter the market using a stop. So if you want to place an order entering a stop, let's switch away from the euro to save having too many orders on the same market. Let's switch to Brent crude oil. And you'll notice that the chart is linked here. Anyway, I'll get to that in just a minute. So we are thinking that crude oil has been trending lower for a while, but that it seems to want to pop higher. And we think that once the price moves above the highs of these two candles here, around 63.95, or should we even say 64? If the market moves above 64, we want to be buying Brent crude oil. So in this case, we're using a buy stop order. So what we'll do is choose an entry price of 64. It's a buy stop. We'll leave the default expiry of it doesn't expire if it's a good till cancelled. The size of our trade, maybe we'll choose 0.50 lots. You can see there in the information tab that it gives us, we can tell that the margin required, the amount of money we'd need in our account, is $315, and the size of this trade is about $3,150 dollars worth of oil. So we know exactly how much oil we're buying, we know how much we need in terms of margin, and so we're then ready to place a buy stop to enter the trade if it breaks higher above 64. So order request. Again, we've not placed a deal, but we've got an order in place to buy Brent crude if the market should push higher. Now you can do the same sort of thing. Say you think crude's going to continue this downtrend, but you're not sure just yet. Say you wanted to sell crude short when it goes below 61. You can do exactly the same thing, but you would just choose a sell stop, not a buy stop. Now let's say we are bullish on crude, as we said, but we're not looking for the price to move above 64. The current price is 62.98, so about 63. We're not happy buying it at 63. We want to see it drop down to 61. What we can do there is use a limit order to enter, just like we've done before. Entering at a future price that's lower than the market price rather than above. So in terms of buying the market, the limit order is below. In terms of using a stop order is above the current market price when you're talking about buys. Again, choose the size of the deal that you're comfortable with. Maybe we're happy with the minimum. Place your order. You can either add a stop loss here to the trade as you do it in exactly the same way we did before when we added it after the trade, or you could, if you're happy in terms of timing, maybe you wouldn't add the stop loss and take profit straight away if you were a rush to get in the market and get the best price, perhaps as the market is moving quickly. If you're a bit more relaxed on how quickly you enter this order, you know, it's at 63 now, it's going to take a while to get to 61, then you can actually go ahead and place your stop loss and your take profit before the trade. And then we have a buy order in Brent crude at 61. So I hope that clears up how to place a trade and how to use orders in LCG Trader. We are now going to have a look at how to use the charts in the LCG Trader platform. So let's move the trade watch area out of the screen just for a moment. On the chart at the moment, we have Brent crude oil, and we have some orders placed on the chart that we just did. You'll notice at the moment that the chart is currently linked to the active market panel. This chart down here is not, so you can see there's this red strike through it. You link charts together by color coding. So now both these charts are Brent crude. This shows the daily chart. This shows the 4-hour chart. In terms of candlesticks, each one of these things here is a candlestick. If you're choosing a D1 daily chart, each one of these things is worth 1 day's worth of price change. That's over time. That's the change in price on the right hand column. If you're choosing H4, that's 4 hours, and this goes all the way down to 1 minute. And you can choose ticks as well, which is a much more fast price action alternative to using minute or hourly or daily or even weekly or even monthly. And then we can choose 12 hours as well. So multiple intervals of chart possible here. You can change how the chart looks. So you can see at the moment we've got some volume added to the chart. You can actually remove those by going to the viewing options. And so for example, we can get rid of tick volume. That gets rid of that. We can get rid of the grid, get rid of the period separators, and we have a lot cleaner looking chart now. We have the bid and the ask price. Maybe we're looking to buy or sell. We could get rid of one of those. There are some targets set out by Trading Central, one of our partners. You can choose to keep those on the chart or indeed remove them. You can see the target is down here. This blue line here is a target based on the 12-hour chart. We could even choose to get rid of that target if we wanted to set our own target, for example. So that's some basic ways to manipulate the chart. If you want to add some indicators, you can have drawing tools. So for example, we have a horizontal line here, could connect these previous lows and these old highs. We have a trend line, which you can select to connect some previous lows or previous highs to denote some kind of trend in some speed or change in trend. And there are also different indicators that you can add to the bottom of the chart as well. They're typically the oscillators. Easiest way to do that in my book, right click on the chart and you have indicators here, and you can either add trend indicators. They appear or they overlay on top of the candle. So moving average, a popular one. You can choose an average of 14 periods or even choose an average of 20 periods, for example. Set that, and you can see the moving average appear on the chain or on the chart there. Right click again, indicators, choose an oscillator, for example the MACD crossover or the relative strength index are two popular ones. Happy with the defaults, you can see they're down there. Now if you want to delete these indicators, right click again, delete indicator. You can then in fact go to your object list, look at the list of indicators you have there and go X and get rid of it. So there's some basic ways to manipulate the charts. If you want to keep these two charts set to the same market, you can then, for example, go and change it to gold here. Both these charts will change to gold. And then say, for example, if we did, we set this as a 12-hour chart for gold, and we draw a little trend line on there. Say we go do some other analysis on the Australian dollar. Both the charts update on the H12 and the D1 to the Aussie dollar. But then say we want to go back to gold again, you can see our analysis in terms of the trend line that we've drawn on the chart is still there. So the different assets will save the different analysis that you do on the chart. So even if you are changing away from what's on the screen, the analysis will stay. So what some people will choose to do, for example, is if you want to, say we're using gold at the moment, we add a new chart. Some people would choose to have multiple variations of the same time frame, of the same market in different time frames. So for example, a 1 hour, you could have a 4 hour, and then you can have a daily, and just shows you different time frames for the same asset. And then because they're all linked, well, they are now at least, then you can just vary what you're looking at, the euro against the British pound, for example. And we've got all these these charts with the same settings in terms of we've removed the grid, for example, on this panel, but we haven't on these. That all remains the same as you adjust them. So that's really the basics of how to analyze the prices and how to link the charts and make use of that linkage. Any questions on this very varied topic, then again, please contact our customer services. We don't want to make this video too long and include every possible indicator and every possible variation of a chart. But this gives you, I think, the bare bones basics, the essentials on how to analyze the charts and how to link them. So the next thing I wanted to focus on here is creating watch lists. Okay, so not just creating watch lists, but using them as well. So this is our popular markets panel here. So if we're talking in terms of watch lists, this is just generated for us. These just happen to be some of the most popular markets to trade by LCG clients. It's typically the most liquid markets, meaning the most number of traders, not just with LCG, but globally, that trade these particular products. So Brent crude oil, US crude oil, which is our version of WTI, gold, silver, the major currencies, the major indices. Wall Street covers the top 30 stocks, like the Dow Jones Index in the US, US 500, US S&P 500, US Tech 100, like the Nasdaq, Germany 30, like the DAX, France 40, etc., etc., etc. And obviously various asset classes to consider. Now, what you can, of course, do is just find a specific market that you're looking for. So, for example, previously there I typed Google, maybe I type in Amazon. You can see shares of Amazon there. So by default, it will give you all the information that you need to consider in terms of the Amazon CFD that we're offering here. And of course, you can create an order in Amazon, i.e. you can place a trade, and that will come up with our deal ticket. And you can use this to place a trade, or indeed you could have a look at the price chart and create a chart of Amazon, or you can add it to a watch list. And this is what I was getting to here. So I've got sort of various versions of this, but say we've got my faves or shares to watch. We could add it to shares to watch. Now, if we go to our watch lists, if we scroll down, here's our shares to watches, and we've not only got IBM, but we've got Amazon in there now. And if you wanted to add more, for example, you could just go plus, and you could add any of these different asset classes. Obviously under shares to watch, you want to add some different shares, maybe from one of these various markets that we offer. For example, a UK share, maybe you want to add in BP. So there's BP PLC, click the star, BP, that's another share for us to watch. Now, you can obviously add multiple watch lists covering the different markets you want to trade, or markets that look like they're about to move higher, markets that you're already in and you're watching the trades, various reasons to create a watch list. The easiest way to start a new watch list is just to choose a particular market and add it to a new watch list. Give that watch list a name. I'll ingeniously call it new watch list. Click OK. I think I might have spelled watch wrong there. And then you'll see that new watch list has appeared at the bottom of the screen. So that covers the bulk of how you'd use watch lists. Obviously, this is just a convenient way to see the different markets that you're interested in. And when you right click on these things, as we saw before, you can see the information by hovering on them, or you can create an order or see the chart of this particular trade, market you want to trade. So that is probably most of what you need to know in terms of a watch list. Now, almost as importantly as placing the trades themselves is analyzing your past trading performance, obviously with a mind to improving that performance moving into the future. That's a lot easier to do with the LCG Trader platform. A lot of the things people had to scribble down on pieces of paper or use Excel spreadsheets for can now be done right from the platform. So you move from the trade tab where you place the trades through to the analyze tab for analyzing trades. So this analyze section is divided into various subsections. And so we have at the top here, equity. Equity is basically the amount of money you have in your account and how it changes. And so that's what this graph is showing. And this is typically what it will look like, ups and downs. As you make winners, the equity in your account goes up. As you make losers, the equity in your account goes down, etc., etc. Obviously, the ideal is to see an upward sloping equity curve. That's what everyone wants to see. That's the curve itself. You can see the statistics here. Obviously, the key statistic above and beyond all is your net profit figure, or net loss as it might be. You also have other ways of viewing your profits, like profit factor. The percentage profitable is obviously always a key one. So out of 100 trades, how many are you profitable, and how many are losses? So in this case, for this account, with the account's in a profit, but actually it only wins 44% of its trades, which means 66% of the 56% of the trades are in fact losers. So you can see from this example, you don't have to win every trade to be a profitable trader. There's your balance, how your equity is changing according to current market positions, the deposits and withdrawals that you've made, and how long the account has been active, and obviously the amount of margin you've been using. Performance is more related to wins and losses. So you can see here we've got winning trades and losing trades. This is typically what your account will look like, especially when you've just started a demo, a couple of months of activity, obviously a bit more activity on a daily basis, obviously, and then obviously empty months before and after since you've just started trading. You can see the amount of total volume of the trades you've placed. That's somewhat useful. What's more useful is just seeing how many trades you've actually placed, and then how many of them were winners and how many of them were losers, and out of those winners and losers, how many of them were long and short the market, to see if you're any better at going long or short, if you're better at buying or selling. You can then subdivide these statistics on your trading volume according to the markets that you're trading. So you can obviously see how many winning trades out of your total trade, your winning percentage, etc., across various asset classes. So you can judge whether you're better at one market or the other quite easily with this particular statistic. And obviously, again, in terms of your overall profitability, you're judging these different markets, and it will actually rank it for you. How profitable you are. And it can put the most profitable at the top, for example. The last section here is some of the most common statistics people will calculate about their trades. Like I said, was often done in Excel spreadsheets in the past. That's no longer needed. It's all calculated for you in the platform. So this you can do for the current month is very typical, or even I would suggest even every week you want to do this over the weekend. Have a look at your trades over the past week. So you can obviously split this up into weekly performance, etc. Some big things to look out for is your largest winning trade. Was it just one big winner that got you most of your profits? And obviously look at your largest losing trade. Is it one losing trade that blew out your otherwise successful week? That can often be the case. And then just look at your average trade, and there are various ways of drilling down the wins and the losses that you're having in your account, and what's actually determining whether your account is profitable or in a loss. And once you know these things, you can obviously do your best to adjust them going forward. It's not that easy, but knowing them through analyzing your past results is the first step to improving your performance in the future. So I'll go through some of these statistics in a future webinar about analyzing past performance, both with the platform and understanding some of the calculations outside of the platform. But for now, I think that's probably all you need to know about the analyze function. So, viewing market information. The current market that we're looking at is the euro against the British pound. Now, the key information is what price can you buy and sell this market at. That's obviously number one. But you also want to consider, okay, if I buy €1,000 in terms of British pounds, what is the value of that trade in pounds? It tells you right there. What's the commission? Well, we don't typically charge commission at LCG. It's normally baked into the spread, as I talked about on other occasions. The margin required for buying €1,000 against the pound displayed here is $37. So you need $37 in your account in order to place that particular trade. Now, market sentiment. That tells us that of all the LCG traders out there, the multiple thousand clients that trade with London Capital Group, you can see that 75% of them are selling euros against the British pound. So they're actually, by that, you can see that they're bearish this market, quite considerably bearish the euro, and by that nature, they're bullish against the British pound. So 75% of the market with open positions, expect the price to fall. 25% of the client accounts with open positions in this market, expect the market to rise. Now this is the depth of market, or DOM. If it's almost like a fast moving volume based limit order, so you can see where different orders are taking place at different price levels and by how much, and you can use that information if you're quick at hand to determine where the supply and the demand is in the short term in a particular market. Now just below there we have the economic calendar. So this is set to euro just because we're involved in a European trade here, so the calendar has been somewhat customized, but you can see there is a full calendar here of different economic events happening today. Some of these happened in the past, and obviously we've got the upcoming ones too. Today, not a too data heavy day. Below here, some similar market details, again worth knowing. The size of a lot. So if you buy 1.0, so up here when you're placing a trade, if you choose 100,000 euro like that, that's actually one lot. But it conveniently says the size of the trade in this platform, so you're not actually selecting difficult denominations like 0.1. It's actually saying 1,000 euro or 100,000 euro in the case of a standard lot size. The minimum size trades a euro, and then it gives you information for the overnight funding costs. So if you're long overnight, it's going to cost you 0.47 of a pip. You're going to gain 1 pip and change if you're short overnight. And various other positions. For example, if you do have some positions in the market, it tells you what those are. The market hours, obviously no point in trading a market when it's closed. Luckily in the case of Forex, you can see here that it's pretty much 24 hours a day, Sunday through Friday. This would be the trade statistics based on all your trades, and you can see here the leverage of 1 to 30 in this euro sterling pair on this particular CFD account. And last but not least, I wanted just to show you where you can see some of the trade signals available through the platform when you first trying to put your own ideas together about which way to trade the market can be helpful to see what other experts are thinking. So if we go down here, again, what I've done is I've opened the trade watch panel to show our kind of list of trades. Now we can make that bigger if we wanted. And then one option is just to see the news. So useful to know perhaps that the euro has just dropped to multi-week lows near 111.50. Targets the lows for 2019. So you might think, well, euro been dropping a fair amount. Maybe it's due a bounce, and that might be some information that you use to enter the market. Signals offered by Trading Central. These are all listed as they come out. If you're a DAX trader, a German index trader, you would in fact need a live account to view this. So let's switch to an available live account. And there we go, we have the DAX trade available right there in the platform. And you can see that what they're saying here is that while the market is above this blue line, 12,170, they would be targeting firstly 12,645 and then 12,880. If the market falls below this blue line, then they're going to shift to a bit more of a bearish stance. They're going to expect the price to drop to first 11,900 and then a potential target. Of course, always potential. These things may not actually happen. It may drop down to 11,620 according to this analysis from Trading Central. Let's have a look at another example. The FTSE 100 is another index. So their bias is for, well, they say a consolidation, but their arrow is defaulting towards a down. So obviously at the moment it's below their blue midline. So while below there, they're expecting these downside targets. And if we switch to the currency market, we can see here that also market below their sort of decision line, if you like. So 124.80, the decision line. While it's below there, expecting the market to head towards 112.15, 124.15, then 124. If we get above there, a pop to 125, then 125.20. Note up here the time frame. This is just a 30-minute chart, so it's relatively short term. So you need to look at the time frame of the chart just to get a feeling as to how long these trades are likely to last. If you move to the top of the platform from the menu here, obviously you can find the live chat through there. You can access My LCG, which is details about your account, and you can also access My LCG analysis. That will take you through to the lcg.com website and some of the available sections on the analysis and education section. Every day there are multiple articles on here explaining to you what's going on in the markets in terms of market news and how it might affect the different kind of markets that you're trading. These are the articles. Also worth checking out the latest analysis videos. So you can see we're covering various currencies and indices and other important markets with the various market moving information. These are typically sort of 2 to 3 minute videos, quite short to give you all the information you need. And then every week we have a week ahead video which previews what is happening in terms of the big events scheduled for the week ahead and how they might drive markets. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. You can find out more information about LCG at lcg.com. LCG is also on Facebook and on Twitter. You can follow myself, Jasper Lawler, and LCG at LCG Trading. Thanks again, everyone, and good luck using the platform and good luck trading.